Everyone saw the new Ferrari SF-26 hit the track in Fiorano. But what most people missed is what it didn't show. Because under all the red, all the celebration, and all the nostalgia, Ferrari just unveiled the most politically risky car they've built in years. They've rejected the compression trick Mercedes is hiding behind. They've said no to loopholes. And they've chosen the one strategy that could either make them unbeatable, or bury them before the season even starts. It's bold. It's defiant. And it might be terrifying, not because of how fast it is, but because of how much pressure it's already carrying. Because if Ferrari is wrong, they won't just lose races. They'll lose control of 2026 before it begins. Ferrari didn't just launch a car. They orchestrated a moment. On January 23rd, in the heart of Fiorano, they unveiled the SF-26. And with it, a promise. This time, they're not following. They're leading. The setting was classic Ferrari. Rain in the air, flags in the wind, fans pressed up against the fences. And in front of them, Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, both suited in red for the first time. Not just a driver pairing. A statement of intent. But beyond the emotion, the car itself said more. Visually, it's restrained. Cleaner than the SF-23, tighter than the SF-24. The white accents on the engine cover sparked nostalgia. But the rest? Purposeful minimalism. No aggressive aero experiments. No dramatic new suspension layout. Just cold efficiency. Ferrari didn't show off dramatic innovation. And that's what makes it so interesting. Because while Red Bull is rumored to be hiding an aggressive aero concept, and Mercedes has already drawn fire for their combustion layout, Ferrari has done the opposite. They've stripped the car back, kept the power unit quiet, and released just enough detail to say, "We're ready," without revealing what "ready" actually means. Toto Wolff didn't mention Ferrari during the Mercedes rollout. But insiders noticed something subtle. Ferrari launched their car after seeing the W17 hit the track. Not before. Which means their reveal wasn't just about showing the world a new machine. It was about responding to what Mercedes had already dared to do. And what Ferrari showed wasn't fear. It was control. The most revealing part of Ferrari's presentation wasn't what they showed. It was what they kept hidden. No technical drawings. No detailed breakdown of combustion strategy. And not a single image with the engine cover removed. Even though Mercedes had already exposed part of theirs the day before. That's not normal. And inside the paddock, it hasn't gone unnoticed. According to two independent power unit consultants, both of whom work with suppliers embedded in F1, Ferrari's new engine, the 676 EVO, may be hiding something completely different from what most of the grid is chasing. Where Mercedes is allegedly pushing thermal expansion to manipulate compression ratios, Ferrari is believed to be testing something else entirely. A hybrid mapping system that redistributes electric deployment after combustion is complete. That would explain the unusually conservative packaging. No extreme cooling tunnels. No signs of aggressive intercooling around the MGUH. Just a sealed, tightly controlled layout. Designed to keep heat inside the block and electric flow outside of scrutiny. If true, this wouldn't be illegal. But it would put Ferrari in a different category. They're not trying to match Mercedes' power phase by phase. They're trying to delay it. Shift the energy downstream. Create torque after the FIA sensors have done their job. And that, ironically, could make it even harder to detect. Because unlike Mercedes' trick, which allegedly activates under heat, Ferrari's approach might activate after the test window ends. Once the car is in motion. Once the FIA has already ticked the compliance box. In other words, the scariest part of this engine might only reveal itself after turn 1. There's a reason Ferrari's rumored strategy hasn't triggered a protest yet. Because technically, it's not illegal. The 2026 regulations are focused on controlling energy input, combustion ratios, fuel flow, initial battery deployment phases. But what they don't tightly regulate, at least not yet, is what happens once that energy has passed through the hybrid loop. Once the car is moving, and the power unit is delivering torque through both the engine and the electric motor simultaneously. Ferrari may be exploiting that by delaying how and when electric power is distributed. Not to gain outright speed, but to shift power delivery further down the straight. They could bypass the most sensitive FIA test windows entirely. The result? A car that passes technical inspections, but performs very differently once the race begins. The logic behind this approach is brutally smart. Instead of risking controversy with compression ratios or thermal geometry, instead of copying Mercedes, Ferrari might have found something that hides in plain sight. Because the FIA's battery deployment tracking system is based on fixed thresholds. Start of lap, end of lap, Reagan zones. But if Ferrari's software rebalances those parameters mid-race, in a way that's technically within the envelope, they're not breaking rules. They're slipping through the space between them. And that's where the real danger lies. Because this isn't just about horsepower. It's about timing. A car that surges late on the straight. That deploys when others lift. That overtakes where it shouldn't. The FIA can't penalize what it can't measure. And Ferrari may have built a car that exploits that blind spot. Which means if they're right, if this system holds, they could win without ever being fastest. Just smarter. What makes this entire situation more unstable isn't just the engine. It's who's driving it. Because for the first time in a decade, Lewis Hamilton is no longer a Mercedes ambassador. He's a Ferrari weapon. And whether the FIA admits it or not, that changes everything. Hamilton didn't just bring racecraft and 7 world titles to Maranello. He brought influence, public leverage, a voice that carries beyond the paddock. If this power unit controversy explodes, if the FIA is forced to issue clarifications, to investigate hybrid mapping systems or software logic, they won't be doing it in isolation. They'll be doing it with Hamilton watching, commenting, amplifying. And that's dangerous. Because the moment Hamilton publicly suggests that the rules are being unevenly enforced, even subtly, it becomes a global conversation, not just a technical one. The FIA has always worked best in silence, with quiet clarifications, with internal agreements and behind-the-scenes adjustments. But this time, the silence might not hold. Because if Ferrari's engine is legal but unconventional, and if Mercedes continues pushing a concept Ferrari rejected on ethical grounds, then the FIA will be forced to make a choice between innovation and intention, between what's written and what's fair. And with Hamilton involved, they know one thing for sure: there will be no hiding behind the rulebook. Let's play both outcomes. If Ferrari's strategy works, if the SF-26 delivers performance through delayed deployment, and stays within every regulatory threshold, then they may have outmaneuvered the entire grid without anyone realizing it. They won't lead in top speed. They might not even top the timesheets. But in race trim, where tire preservation, battery cycling, and late lap torque matter, they could start pulling ahead in ways that are impossible to trace. Now flip that. If the FIA refuses to act against Mercedes' compression system, and Ferrari's power unit turns out to be too conservative, they'll fall behind by the third race. And by the time any regulation closes the loophole, the damage will be done. This is what makes 2026 so fragile. Because unlike previous years, the engines are frozen, locked under the new rules. You can't make fundamental combustion changes mid-season without special permission or unanimous team approval. So whichever engine concept survives the opening 4 rounds is the concept the whole grid will be stuck chasing for the rest of the championship. And here's the twist. Ferrari may be the only team that built for future enforcement, not current performance. That makes them incredibly vulnerable now, but incredibly dangerous if the FIA bends. It's a high-risk, high-trust strategy. They're betting that governance will eventually catch up with engineering, that the rules will shift toward clarity, not chaos. But if the FIA waits too long, or stays neutral to avoid controversy, then Ferrari's entire season, and Hamilton's debut year in red, could be sacrificed to protect the illusion of balance. Ferrari didn't just launch a car. They launched a challenge. Not just to Mercedes, not just to Red Bull, but to the system itself. Because if this hybrid strategy is real, if their deployment maps really are designed to avoid detection, while remaining fully legal, then Ferrari hasn't just joined the fight, they've redefined it. The scariest part? Nobody knows how far they're willing to go. Not yet. Because right now, they're playing quiet. Hamilton is giving interviews about team spirit. Leclerc is talking about unity. But make no mistake, this team is watching the FIA's every move. And if they see even one sign that the rules are being bent to protect Mercedes, they won't just protest. They'll go public. The press won't get technical documents. They'll get sound bites from the most powerful driver of his generation. And Ferrari, a team with more political scars than any other on the grid, knows exactly how to fight that kind of war. So what we've seen so far? That polished launch? That beautiful red chassis and poetic messaging? It might all be camouflage. Because the real story of the SF-26 hasn't started yet. And if the FIA doesn't act soon, if the season begins and Ferrari is proven right, then this won't just be about the engine. It'll be about whether the sport still protects those who play fair, or whether it punishes them for not breaking the rules first.